So now we'll get into the assembly phase of the car. So a few things you're definitely going to need when you're going to be putting a car together is one, brake cleaner. So I use Vertex Lubricants brake surface and parts cleaner. Real good product, obviously. Much the same with their multi-enviro lube. This is more like a spray lube, so a very, very light oil that comes out in more of a mist. For the jobs that you just kind of want like a light mist on. One good thing like to use it for is when I'm assembling a torque ball before our final assembly, just a bit of spray on that just to keep it wet and kind of nice and free and not like aluminium to aluminium for the time being until you get in there with the grease. So obviously it leads me to the next one, which is our Multitac 2 ep.2 grease from Vertex Lubricants as well. Obviously just green grease. Again, one thing you need to know between grease and anti-seize. So grease is used for making stuff slide. So we've got the likes of a torsion bar. Obviously when it goes in the torsion bush, you want it to move freely. However, on the other side, where you've got the bolt which holds the torsion bar down on the pinch bolt, that's where you want anti-seize. So like I say, we use nickel anti-seize, which is also by Vertex Lubricants, another one of their great products. Again, mainly for use of bolts and whatnot. So the nickel is especially good for titanium bolts. So if you've got a car with any titanium in it, for that fact, that is an absolute must-have, is nickel anti-seize. And finally, Loctite 263. So this is the red Loctite for those kind of, when you just say red Loctite, which is the higher grade of the two. There's red and blue, obviously blue being the medium strength, red being the high strength. So this be used on the drive shaft yoke to the engine. So it's something, obviously you never don't want that flying apart between your legs. So obviously there, and that obviously between the three of them, you need to be careful on what you use each 3/4. So obviously you don't want something to come undone. Loctite's the answer. Something that you're going to be servicing a lot, you obviously want the nickel anti-seize. And then for parts that are going to be sliding, so not necessarily bolts, but maybe a bolt which has shank which something slides across it, like a bottom torsion arm bolt in the rear end, you obviously use your grease on that. So just divide that up between the three, and using these is the most crucial thing. Obviously some lube is better than nothing, but knowing what to use and when to use it is crucial when it comes to a really nice car build. They have bolts and nuts, and it's hard to see there, but so you put a bolt in that thread there and one just hanging in there. So obviously just in there where it's got a thread there, I've covered it with just a little bit of rubber hose, nothing flash. Like so, I'll pull them back, so you pull it off and voila, lovely nice little fresh thread. But the best one I do like is what I do up here. So use a 1/2 inch UNF grub screw in there. So get our Allen key in there and undo that. There. Fresh clean thread ready to go. So another good trick is if you're going to be doing any tapping, is actually scoop out a bit of grease. Actually put it in the lid. So rather than contaminating the good grease in your grease pot, which you'll be using for your torque ball and other things you don't want to have dirt or thing in your grease, put a dob of grease in the lid, and then obviously use that for putting it in your tap or whatever it might be to tap your holes out or whatever. Go through and just tape off the few little areas where you might be scared about dinging up some of that fresh either powder coat or paint. Nickel anti-seize, so there's a bit of that, obviously get it on there. I like to get a nice coat over the first handful of threads, as you can kind of see on there, and obviously just smear off stuff off the end and make sure it gets rubbed in well. It's nothing worse than having this stuff spread all over your build. It's something that if you've used it in a day, you definitely know about it because it ends up everywhere. bonus parts for the bonus points. If it never hurts just to get a torque wrench in there, just give them a quick nip to be sure. Done.